समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
Former Chief of Defense Staff General Anil Chauhan has put the spotlight on a practice that many within India's defense establishment have privately complained about for years: white labeling. During his interaction at the Print's marquee event Off the Cuff, General Chauhan described white labeling as a serious problem confronting India's defense manufacturing ecosystem, warning that it undermines the very objective of Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense. His remark came at a time when the government has increased procurement from Indian industry, especially the private sector. While this has helped expand the domestic industrial capability, it has also created incentives for some firms to market foreign equipment as indigenous with little or no value addition. Now, what is white labeling? White labeling refers to supplying foreign systems as indigenous products with little or no value addition. This is done by applying an Indian brand name and supplying with minimal or no local design, development, or manufacturing. Within defense circles, the more commonly used term is screwdrivergery, a somewhat derisive expression describing the assembly of imported kits, licensed manufacturing, or simple rebadging of foreign equipment without any meaningful technological capability. The practice also extends to products manufactured under the transfer of technology arrangements, where Indian companies undertake licensed production but do not own the intellectual property, design know how, or critical technologies. While licensed production does play a role in capability building, experts say the problems arise when such products are projected as indigenous innovations. In many cases, Indian companies enter into partnership with foreign original equipment manufacturers, secure contracts meant for domestic industry, and then supply products that are essentially imported systems carrying Indian branding. The issue came into sharp focus in September 2024 when the intelligence agencies red flagged the presence of Chinese components, including critical parts in drones procured by the Indian armed forces from domestic private manufacturers. Several of these drones were deployed along the sensitive sectors on the northern and eastern borders. The Defense Ministry then put on hold an army order for logistic drones that were intended for deployment along the LAC. One of the key concerns highlighted at that time was that although defense procurement rules prohibited Chinese components, the army was largely relying on self certification by the manufacturers, declaring that their products were free of such parts. General Chauhan also referred to this broader challenge during his interaction, pointing to the limitations of scrutiny in an increasingly complex supply chain. This is more than just Chinese parts. Officials say that white labeling is as much wider issue than merely the use of Chinese parts. As procurement policies increasingly favor Indian companies, many domestic firms have entered into arrangement with overseas manufacturers. While several partnerships involve genuine technology transfer and local manufacturing, others involve little more than importing complete systems and selling them under an Indian label. One example dates back to December 2020 when the Indian Navy signed a contract with an Indian company for anti drone fire control systems designed to improve a soldier's accuracy while countering low flying drone threats. Soon after the contract was announced, an Israeli defense company issued its own statement claiming that it had secured an order from the Indian Navy. It subsequently emerged that the Indian company had acted primarily as a local supplier for the Israeli system. Industry observers say similar instances are not uncommon. A number of Indian defense companies, including some of the big private players, maintain a big catalog of products carrying Indian names, even though the underlying systems are sourced almost entirely from foreign manufacturers. Former Eastern Army Commander Lieutenant General R.C. Tiwari said that white labeling strikes at the very foundation of India's quest for defense self reliance. He says that white labeling goes against the spirit of Atmanirbharta in defense. If a country is not self reliant in the field of defense, it will remain forever at the mercy of other countries, he said, speaking to The Print. According to Lieutenant General Tiwari, the practice creates an additional layer of strategic vulnerability. When India imports equipment directly from another country, there is an understanding between the two governments regarding the quality standards, maintenance support, and long term supply commitments. That assurance may not exist when an Indian company passes off a foreign product with negligible or no indigenization, he said. The recently retired officer said that there has been instances where a foreign company passed on an inferior product to the Indian company. He added that the problem is not confined to the private sector. Even public sector undertakings have followed similar practice in the past. When we describe something as made in India, even though it is largely imported, it damages India's credibility. It is not merely a national security concern, it also affects the country's reputation, he said. Now, retired Group Captain Ajay Lawat believes that the existing policy framework itself encourages white labeling because success is often measured using the wrong parameters. The civilian leadership in the Defense Ministry tends to view self reliance through production figures and procurement statistics. While more equipment is indeed being produced domestically, we continue to depend on foreign supplies for critical technologies and key components, he said. According to Group Captain Alawat, the yardstick for self reliance should shift from localization percentage to sovereign control over defense systems. He argued that sovereign control should be assessed at two levels: software and hardware. The first is ownership of intellectual property, including software, source code, and design authority. The second is the ability to manufacture, repair, and upgrade the system within India without dependence on foreign suppliers. Interestingly, current methods of calculating indigenous content often include relatively low value elements such as packaging, wiring, paintwork, and exterior casings. Such accounting can produce high localization percentages, while the most critical technologies, including the sensors, processors, propulsion systems, and software, continue to remain imported. This is Snehesh Alex Philip for The Print. Do subscribe to our Print's YouTube channel for more such videos.